Greetings, 7th graders. I'm hoping that you are having a wonderful day. I know as we're coming up on the end of our first unit, where we've been working with rates and ratios, you're probably a little excited to be moving onward to bigger and better things. Or you might be going, oh no, we might have a quiz or test coming up. And you may be looking forward to a little bit of review. Or you might also be looking at our last quiz that we just did. You may be thinking, I'll need to get a bit of review in there before I do a retake. Either way, welcome, and hopefully this video is fun for you. Remember that every time we've seen an equation or a scenario where it says write an equation, we've been looking for it in the form of y equals kx. Right? We've been playing around with proportionality or cases with rates and ratios. And when it comes to putting the constant of proportionality into an equation, generally just means we're writing y equals some number times x. Might be, say, y equals 2x, y equals 1/4 x. Could be anything, right? And on our most recent quiz, we had a couple of odd cases given to us. Let's see here. Let me find the exact instructions that we were using there. That way I don't misquote anything. We were told y varies directly as x. Find the constant of variation and write an equation for the direct variation. That was one of our special types of problems. And what we were basically told is there's a direct variation between y and x. And so we know then there's a direct variation, then we have a proportionality. And then they told us something like y is equal to 1 and x is equal to 5. Right? Okay. Well, keep in mind from our fact family scenario, from our notes there, we know that k is just equal to y over x. Right? Or if we were graphing, we've been told we have a direct variation, so we have a proportional relationship, which means if we make our graphs, that means if we think of it as y equals 1 and x equals 5, we have a line that looks like that, right? And we have that line there. So if we went up 1 and then over 5, tells us our slope just equals 1/5, right? Both of these statements just told us, okay, k equals 1/5, which means, same idea that we can pluck here from both scenarios, y simply equals 1/5 x. So these aren't too bad. So supposing we see another case where we're told, there's a direct variation between y and x. Y varies directly according to x, and suppose y is equal to 2, and x is equal to 5. And all we'd have to do is say, okay, k is equal to 2 over 5, y equals 2/5 x. It's not too bad. We can handle that. Next up, we could say, we were given a couple of story problems here. So suppose I said, I'm paid $2 for every car I wash. Right? And we have to find a constant of proportionality for that. Well, let's see. If we were to make our table here, and just supposing that we input our value, remember x here, that's going to be whatever we're chucking in to get our data. Suppose I wash 1 car, that means I get $2. If I wash 5 cars, I get $10. If I wash 100 cars, I get $200. Okay? Notice there, I was able to simply just say, supposing this happens, I get paid this much. if something, then something else. So we could just make that really fast, and then we could say, okay, well, if all of the if inputs, if we call those x, and all of our, then I get paid. Keep in mind, a lot of these are money, so we want to know what's our payment. When do I get that money? All right? Well, if we want to know that, that's the part that depends on how much we're doing. So in this case, we can still use our k equals y over x. Or we can simply say, okay, for every car I wash, I get 2 times that back. Well, then that just tells me that y equals 2x. All right, I won't write out another story problem because, frankly, I think it took me longer to write that out than it should for us to be able to solve it. But keep in mind, story problems oftentimes, they'll just give us our constant of proportionality, and they say, all right, write me a quick equation for it. So that's all nice and good. And we had one other type of problem we had to deal with. This time I said, all right, I'm not going to make you write the equation. You've written it a bunch of times. This time I'm going to give you the equation, y equals 5x. Right? And I want you to graph that for me. You all said, Mr. Mortensen, I can do that. It's not that hard. And he said, okay, I got my graph. And since this is proportional, and I know it's proportional because it is y equals some number times x and no extra stuff added on. Since it is proportional, I can make my first point right here at the origin. Right? And then after that, I'll look and I'll say, well, 5, that's the same as saying 5 over 1. That way, I've got a nice k that gives me a fraction, so I know how I'm going to move. And I say, okay, 5 over 1. I start with my y and I go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I go over 1. And if I have enough points, I can go up another 5 and then over 1. Seeing as how I only have an extra 3 points there, I will stop right there and I'll say, okay, there is y equals 5x. Let's practice this out one more time. This time I give you a fraction. I say, what if I give you 2/3? Y equals 2/3 x. You say, I am not afraid. Okay, we'll get our points in there. Okay, so again, we would argue, okay, we have ourselves a proportional relationship. I'll abbreviate because I'm running out of space. Which means I will make my point right here at the origin. That is where I will start. And I know it's proportional because y just equals some number times x, and there's no extra stuff. And then I go up by 2, and I go over 3, and I go up another 2, and I go over another 3, up by my y values, then over 3, which roughly puts me about there. And then I'll draw my line. And voila! I have myself a lovely line that shows off our direct variation. Alright. I hope this was helpful. If there's any of you that are looking to retake your quiz, then I look forward to seeing you. If not, I hope this is helpful for you as you are studying for our lovely unit test that we will have coming up. Hopefully you are having a fun time, and if you are able to, if time allows, go and check out something fun. I highly recommend doodling in math class. That's a YouTube video. I don't necessarily recommend it in mine, but they are very interesting videos that are put up there, and so I highly recommend you go ahead and watch one of those if you're looking for something fun to do right now. They're very clean. They're very fun, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. All right. Bye-bye.